Hey everyone, today I have a little story about earlier in the summer. This took place around May, early June, late May, somewhere around there. The weather's getting real hot. That is a very important part of the story. Basically, the weather being hot led to me getting, or what would be a sex offender due to the heat. But and I'm sure if you were to lay out the story in front of the judge and show them every part of it that happened, then they would obviously see that you're not a sex offender. However, that's not a chance I want to take. So currently, I guess I'm still an unregistered sex offender. Basically, whoa, that sounds crazy. It's not crazy. This could happen to anyone. Basically, we were doing some hiking in the mountains. It's really hot. There's in the Los Padres National Forest. You start in this beautiful little town of Fillmore. You drive up further into the forest, and then you come to a trailhead called Doe Flats Trailhead. And from Doe Flats Trailhead, me and a group of a few of the guys, we were trying to do some exploring, and we went up into the mountains. However, this story takes place after we had been in the mountains. And so when we were in the mountains, we're doing all of our guy stuff. You kind of get into you get into like what you're feeling. You're like kind of like I wouldn't say tribal, like more of like a primal lifestyle. You're hanging out with the guys all day. You're getting wild, you're getting a little silly or whatever. And so, yeah, I basically think, reflecting back on it, I think just, whatever mental state we were in was not aligned with the same mental state of society, right? Like if you rescue not a savage, but like just someone who isn't familiar with our society's rules, not rescue, that's in anthropology, that is not the correct word. It's more of like, let's say you take someone from a different culture that's been isolated from our culture and you put them in ours. They may do certain things that are different from our culture, right? And so when you take our culture of our more living with nature culture, our more in touch culture, I don't know what you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. We were living in the elements. And when you take our culture and when you mix it with the culture of society, like the society we know, it's not always gonna it's not gonna go right together perfectly. There's gonna be some intrusions. There's gonna be some things that just flat out don't go together well at all. And so you have to remember that when you're thinking about this story, because this story is a story of culture clash. And if you come at it from the very like colonial mindset of one rule is the right rule, it's never gonna like it's never gonna make sense in the end. There's always gonna be something missing. And so me and my friends, we were hooting and hollering, coming back the last day. It was very hot, and we were quite low on water, and we had to climb about 3,000 feet to get out of there. And so we were hiking up there on our last day, hiking up this huge mountain, and then from there was a flat point. So once we got up there, we were out of water, so we had to go. There were multiple rattlesnakes. We got to hear the rattle of a rattlesnake go off as we walked near one, and all these things just made it so our minds were more in a primal mindset, that we were more in touch with nature, in touch with our bodies and our emotions. And so we didn't just all like, and then when you're looking for water, that's a very primal thing. And so obviously we weren't thinking of like, how legal is this? How whatever stupid stuff. We weren't thinking about any of that. We were thinking, what do we need to do to survive? We are about to run out of water and we are about to die. And that's what you have to think about. Sometimes you just have to put yourself first and you have to prioritize yourself. And so, and that's a very like human, or not even human, just a very wild, like very core mindset to have. You have to prioritize your safety. Everyone has that. And so as we're hiking along, keep in mind, it might only be 85 or 85 or 82 or 83 degrees, but it is hot. And so it feels like it's 100 degrees and we have 40-pound packs on. Everyone has 40-pound packs on. One of our friends already collapsed. And so, what do you do to stay cool? You take off your shirt. You drink something cold. We didn't have anything cold. You drink some water. We had just gotten more water and we purified it from a disgusting little spring, but we're very blessed to have water, even if it was very gross. But I don't know. There's only so much you can do to stay cool. And after that, you don't want to collapse of heat stroke. You don't want to die. And so we're in the back country. There's no other hikers that we thought. There's no other like people around. There's no reception. You can't get DoorDash. You can't DoorDash like a Baja Blast. That'd be good. But yeah, it's just us and the elements, and we have to make do, and we have all our supplies too. And so it's hot. Our party is not doing well. And so you might think taking off more clothes would be helpful, but to a certain point, it's hot, and like the sweat in your shirt like helps keep you cool sometimes. And so it's not always helpful. And so what you do, and this is something that a lot of hikers do, what you do is you take the zipper on your pants and you put it down. And so obviously there's nothing wrong with that. You open it up a little bit, get a little draft going in there. You're hiking, and then it all feels good. It feels much, much, much better when you do that, especially on a long hike when there's nothing else you can do. That's what you do. And so, we were doing that. And look, I need to reiterate, we're in our not monkey, but like we're in our very basic mindset of survival and just doing whatever you can just to make it through and get out of here and get back. Here's the goal. Here's where we're, straightest path. And so, obviously you need morale. And so one of the guys in our group, he starts, when your pants are open, what do you think? He starts taking out his I don't know if YouTube will let me say this. His let's just say his ding-a-ling, and he starts just joking about it, and he pulls it out, and then soon enough, it's hot. He's like, wow, this really feels good. We're like, no, you're just trying to get us to whatever. No, but sure enough, someone else does it. It feels good. And he's like, okay, we all end up doing it. I did it. It felt fantastic. However, I was also leading the group along the trail. It was a narrow trail, obviously. And so I'm not proud of it. But it did happen, and there's nothing wrong with it. We all make mistakes once a boundary is crossed. It's not, if you live your whole life in fear of crossing boundaries, you're never gonna get anywhere. So once a boundary is crossed, you have to talk about it. And we say this all the time in performing arts. If you've ever done like theater or musical or anything of that, once you cross a boundary, it's not an issue, but it's something you learn. You know, you want to make it not weird, not make it wrong. But so yeah, here we are, just 6 hikers coming along this trail with their dicks out. And so there's these 2 we didn't know. We thought, who would be hiking right now? This is terrible. Why would you be hiking in the summer? But these 2 female hikers were coming up along the opposite way on the trail against us this whole time, actually. And so what we did next, you know, obviously I've said it before, I'm not proud of it, but we didn't notice. And when they were coming there, you know, we obviously got a little surprised, because why would they? I don't know. We didn't expect them to be doing that. And of course, like I've said, once a boundary is crossed, it's up to you to not make it worse, or not make the person feel worse. It's about to be like, hey, hold on, that felt weird. Let's talk about that. And so you're supposed to talk about that. But instead, they started like screaming and started running away. And then I don't know what happened, but you know, we weren't really thinking there was anything weird, because that's just the mindset, that's the world we lived in. So at least I started to run after them, because I was like, wait, what is it? And like when you're in this happens when you're in like a not so good of a neighborhood. When someone starts running, you're like, what's happening? Maybe you start running too. And so they start running. I start running, at least, and I'm running after them, and they are running down that trail. They are going so fast. I thought they might have seen, I don't know, like some type of murderer or like rapist or like a grizzly bear. I don't know what could have warranted that reaction. And I'm running after them. Well, I'm running with them, really. And then there are the 2 ladies. They're screaming the whole time, and they're looking back. But yeah, but what really ends up happening is I stop at a certain point, because I'm like, uh-oh, this could be due to me, because really they don't understand the full situation, and they're not in our same mindset. And so I stop at a certain point, and I think after they had like pulled out their phone at me or something like that, I stop, I turn back, and none of the guys have really followed me. They're like, what the hell, what happened? But yeah, basically, or what really ended up happening is they had a picture of me. They put the picture up, and they printed out the picture. And there's actually a picture of me up there right now at the trailhead. We did manage to get away, because they had driven off, and I guess they'd gone back to the police and they had filed a report, and it's this big thing, and there was a search out, and they had some like some of those backcountry teams go out there. But you know, really, what are they gonna find? We had already driven off. We hadn't done anything wrong. No, none of my friends wanted to turn me in, and so it was really, yeah, it wasn't a great situation, you know, for any of us, because they were terrified. I was, you know, I'm unjustly made a sex offender, and so yeah, I don't know if you guys have any advice for me, if there's any lawyers, if there's any police officers, not if there's any police officers from Fillmore Police Department, please do not contact me or comment. But yeah, I just let me know your experiences with this, because it's not good. I wish they didn't make such a big deal out of it, but I can see where they're coming from. Unlike them, I can see their perspective and where they're coming from in society. It doesn't go the other way. They can't see my perspective from their perspective, but I can see where they're coming from. So I think that makes me a better person. But yeah, so no hate towards them. I'm just, yeah. So if any of you have any advice or experience with this, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, it's just really, I don't know, it's kind of messed my life up, because I really liked, or not, that's dramatic. I hate when people say that. I'm just not allowed to go in that region anymore in case someone recognizes me. But, you know, I don't think it'll happen. So, make sure to give the video, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.